maro nandena he. Maro nandena he.
Welcome back to Cura Medicina. Hope everyone's well out there. Today we're going to really dig into all of the things that will help you get through your experience. We talk about your body language, paying attention to it, taming the monkey mind, mindfulness, mantra meditation, breathing and pranayama exercises, deep breathing. Your breath is really an important aspect of bringing your presence back to the moment, along with, really tapping into the music and your surroundings. Staying super present in the ceremony is very important. It's important in life in general, but especially in the ceremony. If you're starting to have a difficult moment, your breath is your anchor. So we talk about that. We talk about doing a body scan, really checking in with your body and checking out how you're feeling, where you're feeling it, if you have emotions coming up or nausea, just really getting into your body. We talk about anchors during a difficult experience, what to use, certain tools that you can use during that experience. And really the most important hack, I would say, is gratitude, like just bringing gratitude to the entire experience and relaxing into the state of gratitude, especially if you're having a difficult time, like just thanking the medicine, thanking the facilitator, thanking the space, thanking your body, thanking whatever, divine beings that might be assisting in the process, thanking the plants. Like gratitude is so important. So this is chapter 3. This chapter will give you all the tools that you need to make it through the weekend. Enjoy, and we'll see you on the other side.
Chapter 3. The First Night. My recommendation, particularly to those who are having feelings of ambivalence and concern from the very beginning, is to drink the medicine with a big yes in their hearts and minds. Ayahuasca. Javier Reguero. The first night of taking the sacred vine can be overwhelming in more ways than one. The effects of ayahuasca can show up in the participant in as little as 10 minutes. Sometimes it can take longer, but usually things begin to change after the first hour. As mentioned, different shamans use different plants in conjunction with ayahuasca, and each has its formulae. This means that depending on who administers the brew, the time in which the effects appear and the intensity of these effects will vary. The same goes for your state of mind. Remember set and setting. How the brew affects you will depend greatly on how you feel before and during the process. While some retreats can create strong brews, others believe lighter brews can do the trick. The facilitator will ask you how much ayahuasca you want when you are being served. Let your intuition be your guide. It's easy to get wrapped up in your ego when others ask for larger doses or go back for additional cups. Stay true to your inner voice and ask for what is right. The experience. Every ayahuasca experience is different. Some people receive lots of visions, and some participants receive none. Spirits could visit you, or you might see people shapeshift into animals or other people. You could have a visit from an ancestor, or even a dead relative. Some people purge nonstop, and others never purge at all. There is no way to shape our ceremonial journeys other than to prepare well with a solid dieta and focus on some of the things we discussed in Chapter 2. In this book, we won't go into different experiences people have had with ayahuasca, though I will share some of my adventures where appropriate. The recommended reading section at the end of the print or ebook version of this book lists several beautiful resources for further exploration of the ayahuasca experience. Many of these experiences, when described, can sound eerily similar. There can be two reasons for this. One is that spirit might have some preferred modes of manifesting itself before us. There may be colors, visions, or sounds that convey an all-important message to everyone who drinks the brew. Another reason is that a lot of what we expect in the ceremony might be affected by what we've already read in the different accounts of others. While it's always helpful to know how these experiences have changed people or helped them, the images can affect us much deeper than expected. The best state of mind when approaching the ayahuasca experience is to release all forms of expectation. Remember that ayahuasca gives you what you need, not what you want. Let's focus on the nature of these experiences and try to understand what we can do to make the best of the journey. One of the most recognizable effects of taking any psychedelic is the ability to see visions. These visions can be abstract or precise. Usually, people report seeing different colors, sounds, or lights. Your mood at the time can play a role in how these visions appear before you. If you don't have a vision, don't worry about it. It's common for people participating in the ceremony for the first time not to have any visions. Some shamans even believe that it might take some time for the spirit of the vine to get acquainted with that of the participant. If you have a mystical experience, it will likely be as difficult to refute as it is to describe. What's far more common in these ceremonies is that you will come face to face with your true nature. Sometimes, the spirits within us are the scariest to confront. During this session, you might suddenly remember long-forgotten memories. These might be delightful, but the memories we repress are usually not the kindest ones. The same goes for emotions. You might feel things much more intensely than you ever have before. Even incidents or experiences that you might have dealt with lightly in the past could bring up reactions that make no sense to you. You will feel more vulnerable during this time than you want, but you won't seem to have a choice. In some rare cases, there might be feelings of paranoia as well. When we feel paranoid, we might respond to deep-seated fears in an irrational manner. An episode of paranoia can present itself like mental illness in clinical conditions. However, they're usually expected in the context of an ayahuasca experience. Moreover, these episodes are generally over quickly. While an average ayahuasca experience can last between 4 to 6 hours, the problematic periods, including feelings of disorientation or helplessness, usually lasts for no more than half an hour. This also depends on the intensity of the brew itself, as well as on other factors such as the set and setting, and whether you've taken more than one round of the drink. Again, These are less common in sessions for beginners, but you should keep them in mind. Let's now discuss what you can do to have an optimal experience. Pay attention to your body language. A ceremony is a dance of trust. Not only are you trusting your facilitator, and to some extent your co-participants, but you're also trusting the unknown. You want to get closer to the unknown, which cannot happen until you learn to surrender to the journey. Whether you observe mystical phenomena or a different version of yourself, you must allow these things to happen. As Tony Robbins said when I went to his Unleash the Power Within event. Life is happening for you and not to you. Realize that what happens in the ceremony is for your growth. Ayahuasca is a wise and gentle spirit, but she might need to turn up the discomfort to help you learn a lesson or two. Trusting is also about being open to receiving from spirit. Our first line of defense, or receptivity, is found in our body language. Think of it this way. When we approach someone with balled-up fists, or listen to someone with our arms crossed, we give them the impression that they're not welcome or appreciated. Sometimes this is deliberate, but other times we're simply giving off the wrong signals without being aware of it. These subtle gestures can have a profound impact on our relationship with spirit. So much of how we feel about others is related to the vibes that emanate toward them with our energy. If people can pick up on energies, it's hard to believe that spirits cannot. We might not want to appear closed off or scared, but our bodies could convey that message. How do we take care of this? Let's go back to the previous example. When you need to convey warmth or friendship, you are asked to have more open body language. This will include facing toward the other person, making sure your posture is relaxed, and talking to them in a receptive manner. This is what you need to do as well. Be as relaxed as possible, and make sure you welcome the experience. Welcome the experience with mindfulness and openness. Treat Grandmother Ayahuasca as if she were a dear friend or family member. I recommend sitting up straight and extending your spine to receive the universe's energies. Let those cosmic energies flow through you and into Grandmother. The journey you're about to embark on is similar to life's journey. You might find yourself happy or euphoric one moment and sad the next. Similarly, you might have a moment of epiphany followed by stretches where you feel bored and underwhelmed. Be ready to experience it all. The beauty, the terror, the joy, and the pain. When you're facing periods when nothing seems to happen, stay present. Physically, this would mean that you stay within the ceremony space until it's deemed safe for you to leave. Most people don't recommend driving or even walking on your own in such a condition. This is because the effects of the drug don't follow a pattern. You might feel like nothing's happening and experience something intense after some time has passed. In any case, your facilitators know best, so always listen to them no matter what. And if you feel that something's wrong, reach out to your guides without hesitation. It's also possible for you to mentally check out. This is also not recommended because your mental state will affect the work of the medicinal plant. Therefore, it's important to stay engaged during periods of lull. If you are having difficulty staying present, try and anchor yourself to the music or an image in the room. Ego dissolution is a common experience in the ayahuasca journey, and let me tell you that it feels great. But it can also bring up fear as our identity slips away. I had one journey where I merged with God and disappeared into the divine. My ego surfaced and reminded me that I had a body and responsibilities to return to. The ego reminds us of who we are and what we like and don't like. It also directs our lives. What happens when this ego dissolves into nothingness? In one sense, we cease to exist. Our ego places us firmly on this plane of existence, and as it dissolves, we begin to exist in everything. We feel connected to everything, become a part of divine consciousness, and see everything as an interconnected web. It is here where we step into oneness and drop the separation created by the ego. Ayahuasca assists this delicate dance and opens a door toward the divine. This experience, which can be scary and exhilarating at different times, can make the best of us feel unmoored. What do we do then? Do we shrink away from the experience, or do we lean in? I know it's easier said than done, but we'll discuss ways to keep ourselves steady during the challenging parts of the experience. Let's go back to the body language analogy. It's generally believed that people who maintain eye contact during conversations are deemed trustworthy. Think of this experience as maintaining steady eye contact with your deepest self, and not flinching when you most want to. When the spirit of ayahuasca looks into your soul, opens your body, mind, and heart to her majesty. Taming the monkey mind. According to Buddhist teachings, the monkey mind is the part of us that does what it wants. Much like a petulant and trying child, this part of our brains is whimsical and unreliable. It's also extremely restless and indecisive. When it wants to do something, it doesn't ask for permission. Most of us find it impossible to control this monkey mind of ours. However, developing a practice that helps us rein in the monkey mind is essential for a good life. The Buddha reminds us of the power of getting a handle on the monkey mind. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. Our ego is primarily concerned with protecting and caring for itself, right? Well, the monkey mind is also thought to be part of our ego. This is not surprising after seeing how self-serving it can be. While there are aspects of our ego that protect us, there are many others that keep us from realizing our true potential. Our monkey mind can be extremely noisy, and most of that chatter is unsuitable for us. For example, we might want to do something that makes us happy, but our monkey mind tells us we're not good enough. We might want to take a chance on someone, but our monkey mind talks us into fear and away from courage. The monkey mind holds us back by creating self-doubt and sabotaging our confidence. When we want to get something done and cannot, it's usually our monkey mind to blame. It distracts us, often with fears, worries, and sometimes whimsical notions that keep us from achieving what we want. We know our monkey mind is wild. But can we tame it? If so, how? It turns out that the answer lies with the Buddhists themselves, and it's known as mindfulness. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations. The philosopher, Jiddu Krishnamurti, described mindfulness as choiceless awareness. He said, "In awareness, there is no becoming, no end to be gained, from which understanding comes. There is silent observation without choice and condemnation." Mindfulness is about paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. This involves being aware of one's thoughts and feelings as they occur, without reacting to them or becoming attached to them. In awareness, there is full acceptance of what is without the desire to change the present into something else. By practicing mindfulness, we can learn to be more present in our daily lives, be more aware of our surroundings, thoughts, and feelings, and manage our emotions better. Research has shown that mindfulness can have several benefits, including reducing stress, improving focus and concentration, and promoting feelings of well-being. Mindfulness encourages us to focus entirely on whatever occupies us at the moment, and when unwelcome thoughts come, we accept them without any judgment. Do you begin to see the link between this practice and our ayahuasca experience? When we have unpleasant feelings or sensations, our first instinct is to brush them away or do everything we can to avoid them. This way, we close ourselves off from the lessons found in challenging moments. When we begin to practice mindfulness, we become more grounded during unsettling experiences. Instead, we feel a sense of calm and acceptance that helps us understand the true meaning behind the experience. When we're in a mindful state of being, we begin to let go of our expectations from the present moment. We don't tell ourselves how to act or feel. Instead, we're content to simply be and let the experience unfold. An ayahuasca experience can provide moments of extreme calm, and in those moments, we feel like nothing else matters. These moments are very close to the way we feel when we become genuinely mindful in our lives. Our monkey mind dissolves entirely during this experience. However, we usually react to this with resistance. We feel out of control because this is all we've ever known. So when the chatter dies down, do we want silence? In the beginning, the answer is no. This is where daily mindfulness practice can help us. There are many ways in which you can practice mindfulness. Try mindful eating. You should begin with an activity you do every day. Most of us have gotten into the habit of eating distractedly. We barely engage with our families during lunch or dinner, preferring to watch TV or stare into our mobiles during the meal. One of the simplest exercises one can do is called the raisin exercise. You don't have to use a raisin. You can choose whatever food you want. The important thing is to engage all your senses while eating and to be mindful of the food before you. According to this exercise, we should observe the food before eating it. We should inspect it carefully. If it's something we can hold, such as a raisin or a piece of corn, we should take in its scent, color, and texture. After that, we can slowly begin eating it, taking in all its flavors. This way, the food feels tastier and gives us more nutrients and energy. More importantly, we learn to stay present and engaged with the task. Eating is a very sensual experience, but we've stopped enjoying our food because of our hectic lifestyles. When we begin to eat mindfully, we bring back the joy of eating. Mindful walking. Since we've decided to spend more time in nature, we will learn to walk mindfully at one point or another. Again, the concept is deceptively simple. All we need to do is engage fully with the act of walking. This means no devices. If possible, this should include music that we hear through our earphones while walking or running. While music is an excellent accompaniment to these activities, it doesn't help with mindfulness. All we're doing at the moment is distracting ourselves with one more sound. Instead, we should try to immerse ourselves in the sounds of nature. Taking a deep breath in a forest or around trees can help reset our minds. Visualization. When our minds are extremely frazzled, we wish to escape into a kinder, softer world. The ideal world can be different for different people. For example, you might want to visualize spending time with your family on the beach. Consider spending time alone in the forest. You might wonder why we're using visualization for mindfulness. After all, the whole point is to immerse ourselves in the moment, right? The thing is, sometimes we need to make the present moment better. While visualization is not the same as being in a particular place, it has immense benefits. This is because our brains can be tricked into thinking that what we're visualizing is the experience. Not only does it help us breathe easier at the moment, but it also helps us set intentions for what we want our ideal life to look like. This isn't a byproduct of discontentment. It can help us manifest the kind of reality we want. Mindful listening. When it comes to our relationships, we can often be less engaged with our loved ones than we think. When it comes to work, this problem gets worse. Why is it important to listen? Traditionally, words have been given precedence over everything else regarding communication. The speaker must bear the burden of communication. They must speak clearly and fluently, engage the audience, and direct the discussion. The thing is, the audience doesn't need to listen, but they should. For one, so much communication is nonverbal. When deeply engaged with a speaker, we pick up on cues we might otherwise miss. Second, sometimes speakers have a lot of knowledge and insights to impart, but we are too distracted to listen to them. Speakers should be fluent and effective, but why can't we be graceful and attentive listeners? As mindful listeners, we give respect to those who are trying to communicate with us. Not only that, but we also provide them with valuable feedback regarding the information they provide us. This way, we create a real conversation between the speaker and us. It will take time for you to get used to mindfulness. We are so used to living in the past and future that this paradigm shift requires practice. As you relax into mindfulness, you'll realize nothing is more important than this moment. When we learn to inhabit each moment fully, we'll have a more profound and less unsettling ayahuasca experience. When our minds wander during an ayahuasca experience, we must bring it back to the present moment with ease. Mindfulness helps us immensely in this regard. The other things that can help us fully embrace this adventure are meditation and intention setting. We've already discussed intention setting in the last chapter, but we can now see its use during a troubling experience. When things become difficult, we need to remind ourselves why we're doing something in the first place. Things will get difficult and intense during your ceremony. Remember to anchor your why. Why was it important for you to deal with your demons? Why was it important for you to show up to the ceremony? Why was it necessary to heal from your childhood trauma? When you remember your why, it is easier to move through challenges when the ceremony gets tough. Let's now discuss meditation, specifically mantra meditation, in some detail. This is another powerful method of focusing on the experience without becoming overwhelmed. Mantra meditation. Meditation is the act of focusing our energy on a particular object, breath, or energy. This attention is not the same as obsessing over specific thoughts or feelings we may have. When we decide to focus our energy, we gain insights about ourselves. This also helps us feel calmer and in control of our lives. This was an ancient practice in Hindu and Buddhist cultures. Meditation has immense physical, mental, and spiritual benefits for us, which is why it's gaining popularity among Western populations. Meditation can help bring us back to the present when our mind wanders during the ayahuasca ceremony. It also keeps us from getting distracted in the first place. Our visions become clearer. We don't get tense during the ceremony and can integrate better afterward. There are many different forms of meditation. Even mindfulness can be practiced as meditation. If you want to dive into guided meditation, I recommend the Waking Up app by Sam Harris. Sam is a neuroscientist with a deep interest in consciousness who explores concepts that help us uncover ways to live our best lives. He explores the theory behind meditation practice in his app by taking ancient wisdom and pressure testing it with modern teachers, scientists, and scholars. Of course, you can't break out your phone during the ceremony and open his app for help, but he can help you prepare mindfully as part of your regular daily meditation practice. Something you can take into the ceremony room with you is mantra meditation. What exactly is mantra meditation? The Sanskrit word mantra can be broken up into man, mind, and tra, transport. It's something that has the power to transport the mind. There's no widely accepted definition of what a mantra is. This is because mantras have deep spiritual significance for those who work with them. This concept originated in ancient Hindu and Buddhist traditions, but has been spread across different religions and cultures. According to this concept, words or utterances have power, and that power is carried through vibrations. When we utter anything, we're giving energy to it. Some of these words are higher in energy than others. For example, the Om sound is considered the universe's vibration. We can also elevate our energies when we repeatedly utter these sacred words. When we say these mantras, we tap into a universal code that goes back thousands of years and resonates through sound vibration. These vibrations can help us reach higher states of consciousness and root us in the present moment during the ceremony. Many experts believe that just as psychedelics are one way to have intense spiritual experiences, meditation is another. When we combine meditation with ayahuasca, we can increase the clarity and intensity of our experience. Many people chant mantras as part of their religious worship. In these cases, it's important to chant specific mantras that pertain to the particular god being worshipped. For example, Om Namah Shivaya, I worship Shiva, is a common Hindu phrase used by people to acknowledge Shiva as the divine masculine or supreme being. In Christianity, Ave Maria, Hail Mary, or Jesus might be used as a mantra. The same goes for Islam, Judaism, and other religions. In some religions, there is no god to worship. For example, Buddhism is concerned with ideas of enlightenment and growth. According to its teachings, as long as we can look within ourselves and observe specific guidelines, we can achieve our true spiritual destiny. Here, Om Mani Padme Hum, the jewel in the lotus, talks about the paths that lead to divine consciousness. More complex mantras, especially in Hinduism, have very specific meanings. In some schools of Hinduism, these mantras are considered extremely sacred and powerful. It's also believed that the power within them lies dormant unless it's invoked through a special ritual by a teacher or spiritual guide. This seems overwhelming for someone who has just been introduced to mantra meditation. However, many experts believe that a mantra is anything, a word, phrase, or thought that gives you strength when needed. As long as it has special significance, you can create your mantra. It could be encouraging, saying, I can do it. Or it can help you instill confidence in who you are. For example, I am a joyful being. Also, you don't need to chant these mantras out loud. As long as you can focus on the words uttered, you can also chant them in your mind. In some practices, it's believed that mantras that aren't uttered aloud are even more potent than those that someone can hear. Some people become so adept at chanting these mantras that they don't need to think of them anymore consciously. The mantra will remain part of their awareness as long as they breathe. This is known as a japa. A standing for without, and japa standing for mantra or chant. Thus, this mantra is being chanted without a chant. Admittedly, this is not for beginners, but it's fascinating to think of these chants' potential. Since mantra meditation can be a very effective way of controlling your monkey mind, and might even bring you closer to the energies trying to communicate with you, you should try it. The first thing you need to do is choose the mantra. Start with something simple, like the powerful mantra Om. Find a comfortable place to relax or go for a walk in nature. Recite this mantra while seated with your spine straight, as it will help you focus on the practice. Once you're comfortable, start by inhaling deeply and then exhaling slowly. Do this for some time until you can focus on your breath. After this, start chanting the mantra with each breath that you take. In the beginning, you can do this out loud to stay attentive. Later, you can chant it silently. If you obsess too much about the words, stop for some time and then start again. Remember, the entire process should be easy and free-flowing. When your thoughts wander, you should pause, acknowledge it, and then gently bring your mind back to the practice. This will take some time, but soon you will turn to these mantras automatically. When that happens, these sacred words become a part of your subconscious. That is when the real magic begins. One of the other things to keep in mind is that your meditation practice doesn't have to be an elaborate ritual. While there are perks of committing half an hour or even 20 minutes each day to meditation, this might not be possible for beginners. The Waking Up app I mentioned earlier has a 10-minute mode, where Sam walks you through the meditation. This is a great way to start your practice. The good news is that you can start with as little as a few minutes of dedicated practice. You don't need a specific meditation space. You must be protective of the time you've set aside. While you can practice it any time of day, and some people like to meditate before going to bed, morning meditation is usually considered the best. Consistency is more important than intensity as a beginner. If you miss out on a few days of meditation, don't worry about it. Try to meditate as regularly as possible, but don't use one missed day as an excuse to give up. With practice, you won't need any external motivation to meditate. While there are many rewards that meditation gives you, the process will act as its reward. Breathing. You might oscillate between fear and trust during the ceremony as a beginner. This is to be expected. However, we must do everything to ground ourselves before and during the experience. One technique that helps immensely during moments of the challenge is breathwork. The relationship between breathwork and ayahuasca might be deeper than we think. For one, we usually go through life breathing normally. However, when our fight or flight response is activated, this breathing becomes faster and shallower. Sometimes we might even hold our breath for too long without realizing it. This indicates that we're not okay, and a vicious cycle is formed. One of the ways to relax ourselves during this time is deep breathing. When we consciously take longer and deeper breaths, our bodies get the signal that we are safe. Our stress hormone levels also go down. Our breath is considered the secret to a longer life in ancient practices. It's believed that all of us come with a predetermined number of breaths. Thus, if we can prolong each breath's length, we will also prolong our lives. Also, it's believed that our breath is connected to our life force, known as prana, or chi. Therefore, by learning to control our breathing, we can control the energies that make up our lives, and those connected to the higher consciousness. This is why pranayama, which means to gain control of the life force, is used as a practice, often in conjunction with yoga, to control our breath in various ways for different lengths of time. In pranayama practice, there are 4 important aspects of breathing. 1. Puraka, or inhalation. 2. Rechaka, or exhalation. 3. Antar kumbhaka, or internal breath retention. 4. Bahir kumbhaka, or external breath retention. We know that breathing can help us ground ourselves in reality. What we don't realize is that it can also help us heal. In many ways, it works similarly to ayahuasca. Just as meditation can help us reach elevated states of consciousness, so too can breathwork. Many psychonauts have realized this connection. A leading example of this is Stanislav Grof, a psychiatrist at the forefront of the psychedelic revolution for decades. Interestingly, he has also developed and propagated a technique known as holotropic breathwork, in which different breathing techniques are used for emotional healing and reaching altered states of consciousness. Many similarities emerge when we consider how breathwork functions compared to ayahuasca. For example, when we experience pain or trauma, we usually ignore or push them away. In one way, we're not completing the feedback loop that comes with a classic fight or flight response. Slowly, these tensions or negative energies get stored in our bodies and our consciousness. Then they emerge later in the form of blockages in our bodies. These blockages can be mental, like when we have fears or anxieties related to specific situations, or physical. These physical energy blockages can be the root cause of chronic pain. It's even believed that these energy blockages affect our body's chakras, energy centers, thus limiting us in different physical, emotional, and spiritual ways. When we use ayahuasca for healing and personal growth, what happens is that these fears and traumas come to the surface. This can be unexpected and intense. Our first instinct is to summon our ego and protect ourselves. Sometimes our ego does a thorough job of numbing us, so that we might fall prey to various addictions. However, most defenses don't work when confronted with the sacred vine. When we learn to work through these traumas by facing and acknowledging them in the beginning, and then letting them go, we finally start getting rid of the blockages in our bodies. The most powerful thing we can do is let go of anything we've been holding on to for far too long. Ayahuasca helps us in this process, and so does breathwork. Many people who have worked simultaneously with breathwork and ayahuasca believe that the two experiences have a mutually beneficial relationship. When we start participating in these ceremonies and working with the sacred vine, we become less resistant to trauma and healing work. This helps us with breathwork. At the same time, breathing consciously lets us delve deeper into healing with ayahuasca, because we stop running away from ourselves. It's also believed that divine energy permeates both experiences, and it's not uncommon to find ourselves dealing with similar themes and visions during the two journeys. Lastly, it's believed that our hearts are often constricted with fear and anxiety. When we learn to breathe deeply, our lungs expand, making more space for the heart to breathe at a physical level, and opening up any energetic blockages in the heart chakra. Here, I would like to mention one common misconception about psychedelics. Most people think that taking psychedelics, including ayahuasca, is a self-serving act. While I can understand why people think it's indulgent, we become more connected to others than before when we take them in the right spirit. For example, many people report that their ayahuasca journeys make them less judgmental, more empathetic, and more capable of experiencing unconditional love toward others. Of course, this helps them heal their traumas much faster, but its effects go beyond that. This is why many people with profound experiences with psychedelics also become healers, teachers, and spiritual guides. You will notice that the people around you will benefit from your ayahuasca journey. You are consuming ayahuasca for the entire world. Each cup you drink helps heal our collective consciousness and the traumas we carry as a society. You are healing yourself, your children, your partner, your ancestors, your siblings, your friends, your colleagues, your neighbors, and every other person you contact. Deep breathing. Now that we know how helpful breathing can be during and beyond ayahuasca, let us learn some techniques that we can use. Breathing is the simplest technique to center ourselves during a problematic ayahuasca experience. Here, we can inhale and exhale several times deeply without forcing our breaths. In the beginning, you can take 3 or 5 breaths in one set. Some people even like to belly breathe, as it helps to expand the diaphragm and lets more air into our bodies. This is said to be even more relaxing than breathing through our noses. To practice belly or abdominal breathing, you must place your hand gently on your chest. Then, when you begin to inhale, ensure your chest does not rise. Your hand should remain steady on the chest. Instead, inhale through your belly and watch your stomach rise and expand. When you exhale, purse your lips together and let your breath escape. Do this for sets of 3 in the beginning. Once you get a simple rhythm down, extend your practice by inhaling for 5 seconds and extending your exhale for 7 to 10 seconds. Breathing through your nose on both the inhale and exhale, you want to make the exhale last longer than the inhale. Once you get this wired, hold your breath for a few seconds at the end of the inhale and exhale. In pranayama practice, breath retention is key to building your prana. Some people also practice anulam vilam pranayama, an alternate breathing technique. Here, we sit cross-legged with our spines straight. Then we place our thumb on the side of our nose to temporarily block the passage of air through that nostril. After that, we take a long and deep breath from the open nostril. After inhalation, we hold our breath for some time and use our middle and ring fingers to press the other side of the nose. The nostril that is now free is used for exhalation. An important thing to remember with breathing techniques is they can make you feel dizzy initially. Therefore, doing small sets is advisable until you grow more comfortable with them. Also, some exercises can be done while lying down. So try doing that when you're starting. For a deep dive into pranayama, grab a copy of Asana Pranayama, Mudra Bandha by Swami Satyananda Saraswati. Body scan. The body scan technology is essential for using your breath to create awareness about your body and its issues. While you can do this technique at different times during the day to check in with yourself, this is especially helpful when you are feeling stressed or anxious. Remember how our bodies hold trauma, fear, and anger in different areas in the form of blocked energies? A body scan helps us identify those areas and then release the blockages. You can do this technique while standing or sitting down. However, in the beginning, you can lie down so that you are fully relaxed and focused on the process. All you need to do is close your eyes and focus on breathing. Make sure you breathe slowly and consciously, but do not use force. When your body gets used to the rhythm, bring awareness to each part of the body. You can start anywhere you like, but it's best to work sequentially, so you don't get confused. You can begin at your toes and work up to the top of your head. When you inhale, focus on one part of your body. Bring your entire awareness to it, and try to see how that area feels to you. As you breathe, you will notice if a particular area is in pain or feels tighter than usual. My tightness accumulates in my shoulders, abdomen, and jaw, where I usually start my body scan. You likely know your trigger points, so start in the known areas and move to the unknown. When you identify tightness, complete your breathing cycle while releasing anything causing this blockage. Breathe into the area of blockage through your nose and exhale the tension through your mouth. Veronica, one of my teachers, encourages visualizing breathing out through the tips of the toes, helping the body release in a powerful way. She suggests, imagine colorful, be mindful of the specific color, fireworks shooting out of your toes. Slowly, you will begin to get familiar with how your body responds to the trauma. Moreover, your body will also tell you if it's in a happy or relaxed state. These signals are useful when you have a particularly stressful episode. Even without realizing it, your stomach might store pain, or your chest might get tighter. When you realize this and use your breath to release the tension in these areas, you signal to your body to let go of the stress you're carrying. This can be especially helpful during a challenging ayahuasca experience. It might take some time to get comfortable with this technique, but eventually you will find yourself doing a quick body scan whenever things get uncomfortable. Both your body and your mind will thank you for it. Anchors during a difficult experience. The techniques mentioned above can help you take care of yourself during an intense or challenging period in your ayahuasca journey. There are some other things you can do to navigate this experience smoothly. For one, hold on to your intention, but hold it gently. Remind yourself as often as necessary about your reasons for going through this experience, and also invite in any lesson you might need beyond your intention. Second, if there's music playing in the background, pay attention to it. Usually, when we're amid an experience, we can forget ourselves and get stuck in our minds. Music helps us reorient ourselves in the physical space by acting as an anchor. In shamanic ceremonies, music also acts as a guide. These pieces of music have deep spiritual significance to the shamans, and usually, they are attuned to the cosmic vibrations that we're trying to tap into. If nothing else, you will feel more relaxed as you concentrate on the songs. Third, sit up straight and open your eyes. Sitting up straight will open your chakras and allow unobstructed energy to run through your Kundalini system. Opening your eyes brings you into the present moment. When our eyes are closed, the visions can be rooted in our mental structures or fears. When we open our eyes, these visions are still a part of our awareness, but their intensity decreases considerably and tends to be rooted in the present moment. This is why it's advised that when you're witnessing something that seems too much to handle, you should remind yourself to open your eyes and sit up straight. Imagine your posture when you feel assertive and attentive. Model that state of being as much as possible during your journey. Gratitude. Last but not least, practice gratitude. This is something we can use even beyond the ceremony. Count your blessings each day and remain grateful to the universe. It's the human tendency to focus on things that are not going well or are missing from our lives, even if we have enough to be thankful for. We will most likely look at someone else and want the things we don't have. This is even more pronounced in the age of social media. It seems like everyone other than us is having the time of their lives. This is why starting a gratitude journal is recommended even before participating in the ceremony. This way, we'll get into the habit of noticing the numerous things that improve our lives. When we're amid our ayahuasca experience, we tend to run away from the dark parts. However, it's our shadow that gives us proof of the light. A problematic experience can make us feel bitter or angry. No one wants to remember the unpleasant things we've experienced or the unpleasantness within us. However, if we practice gratitude during this time, our awareness shifts from darkness to light, from anger to love. When you practice this, be thankful for the difficulties as well. Challenges are unique opportunities to heal and often uncover parts of ourselves that we have hidden from the world. If you reach a painful moment in your journey, my teacher, Natasha, says to reflect on the fact that you are love and light. However, please don't use it as a weapon or a shield. Relax into the intrinsic truth that you are love and light at your core. How many people worldwide get a chance to work through their pain and trauma? How many of us have this experience where we can meet our true selves? How many of us can reset our direction and control our destinies? This is not something we should take for granted. Once you realize that the whole ceremony, along with its highs and lows, is a gift, you will become more positive and humbler about the entire experience. Rasha reminds us in her book Oneness that the hardest challenges can offer our deepest lessons, and that our emotional release is the key to liberation from the patterns that keep us disconnected from our authenticity. She writes, "You must open your heart to the very real sensations of hurt, sorrow, or outrage. In so doing, you pave the way for the reintegration of a missing piece of your being."
I hope you enjoyed that extract. In the next podcast, we will start to talk about, the importance of sitting in night 2, and also we'll inch toward some recommendations for integration from your process. super excited for that. Please hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying this podcast, and I would love a few reviews. So just hop on over there and leave a review if you are finding some value in what I'm bringing. We'll see you next week.